morning. I am Ms. Sonali Naik, Assistant Professor at the Vidya Vikas Mandal's Govind, Ramnath, Kare College of Law, Margam, Goa. A pleasure to host and welcome you to the second episode of The Legal Lens, where law meets insight. The topic of today's podcast revolves around the theme, Understanding Legal Aid and Free Legal Services in India, an instrument, an aid, a mechanism for the purpose of providing accessibility to justice to all, especially the marginalized, the underprivileged, and the disadvantaged. We have with us today a person apt enough to be talking to us on this topic of such legal and social importance. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Sarika Nilesh Phal Dessai, currently serving as Secretary to the District Legal Service Authority, South-Goa. It gives me great pride to introduce her as a star alumna of this institution. She has been a top ranker at the final year's LLB degree examinations held by the Goa University in the year 2001. She has also served the judiciary in different capacities, as member of the bar as well as the member of the bench. She has practiced law as an advocate in different courts in and around Margam. She has worked also as an assistant public prosecutor, has served as civil judge junior division and judicial magistrate first class, as well as civil judge senior division and judicial magistrate at first class at various courts in various talukas of the state of Goa. Thank you, madam, for consenting to be with us. And to begin with, may I ask, what inspired you to focus on legal aid, particularly in the context of Goa?
I joined as a secretary, District Legal Services Authority in April 2022. When I was a sitting judge, I used to see that people who require legal aid used to approach the courts and they used to need assistance in applying for legal aid. So when I joined as a secretary, I mainly focused on how the procedure should be, how to expedite their applications, how their application should be taken on priority. So I made my panel lawyers a little stronger. I made the system of getting the applications faster and allotment faster. So my more focus was on giving quick legal aid and conducting more and more awareness camps. So since the time I was a secretary, I started focusing more on the legal aid section.
Thank you, that's very encouraging. I move on to the second question. We would like to know from you, what is the concept of legal aid and why is it so important in ensuring justice to all?
Yes, the concept of legal aid is not new. It is always there as part of our constitution. Section 39 of Directive Principles of State Policy says that equal justice and free legal aid. In fact, it has given the state that the state shall ensure the operation and it should be that legal aid should be given. It is also our fundamental right that we are entitled to free legal aid. So this concept also came since 1980 also. The Supreme Court has been in Hussaina Khatun versus Union of India. They said they give rights to under trial prisoners where whoever was unaware. There were awareness camps and developments with respect to under trial prisoners, and the concept started evolving. So legal aid is legal proceedings, it can be in any form. So it starts with legal proceedings in courts and also outside the courts. So legal aid has to be given both in courts, tribunals and forums, as well as to people in prisons and jails. So the concept starts and is evolving since then.
So thank you for giving us an understanding of legal aid.
Yes, I will only also add that the Legal Services Act 1987 was also enacted in view of Article 39A of the Directive Principles of State Policy.
Yes. So we move on to our next question. Who is eligible to receive legal aid, and could you outline the criteria for us?
Yes, Section 12 of Legal Services Act 1987 says that it has laid down criteria. So a member of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, any woman, a victim of trafficking, like in human beings or beggar, like person with disability, person who are circumstances, who have been a victim of mass disaster, violence, caste atrocity, flood, drought, earthquake, industrial disaster, industrial workmen, and also people in custody. So all these people are entitled for legal aid under Section 12 of Legal Services Act, and under Section 13 if they can't fall in the criteria of all the criteria which is there in Section 12, then they are entitled for legal aid as per Section 13.
So it's basically the underprivileged, the marginalized, and the
Women,
disadvantaged,
and also child.
Yes. So weaker sections of the society.
Weaker sections of the society.
Yes.
So
I'd like to know from you, what are the types of cases that are typically covered by legal aid?
okay, so it will all civil and criminal cases, of course. So in courts it will be civil and criminal cases, any type of civil or criminal cases at the district court or the trial courts. Even in the tribunals, in executive courts, they are entitled. So it is the types will be, you cannot categorize it. Any civil, any criminal case at any stage, whether it is pre-litigation, post-litigation, all are entitled, or all types of cases fall in the criteria, and they are entitled for legal.
Okay, so there is no reservation as far as the nature of cases
No,
concerned.
there is no reservation. Any type of cases.
I'll move on to my next question. Could you share the process that one must follow to apply for legal aid?
Yes, so it depends on your territorial and subject jurisdiction of every case.
Okay.
And criminal courts. So if a person has a matter before the taluka courts, whether it is Margaon, Sane, Kare, Vasco, if they have matters before there, then they have to approach the Taluka Legal Services Committee. If the matter is before the district court, then they have to approach, or any other forums like tribunals, mamladars, any other forums, then they have to approach the District Legal Services Authority, which is at the office is at District and Sessions Court, Margaon. If so, any matter in the district court, district legal services committee. If it is a matter before the taluka court, then taluka legal services committee. If the matter is at the high court, then the state legal services authority will process the applications. And if it is higher courts, then Supreme Court, High Court. So there is a hierarchy. So it is from Taluka Legal Services Committee, District Legal Services Authority, State Legal Services Authority, then High Court committees, as well as the Supreme Court committees. So at every stage there is an authority which will take it. Now how a person will approach? Now any person who is a beneficiary under Section 12 has to approach the Taluka Legal Services Committee or the State or the District Legal Services Authority or the State Legal Services Authority. There is always a paralegal volunteer at the front office. So that you have to take a form from the paralegal volunteer. The form is to apply for legal aid in that person, concerned authority or the committee. So the paralegal volunteer is going to help the beneficiary in applying for legal aid. So you have to give a brief particulars of the case and where exactly you want to give. If you have a preference of a certain lawyer, like if you want a civil lawyer or a criminal lawyer, that preference also should be mentioned in that application. So it has all the name, your address and particulars of the case, where exactly you want, in which court, and you have to be identified. Along with that application, you have to give a copy of the Aadhaar card or any other document proof to show that you are the one and the same person who is applying for this. If you are a person of scheduled caste or scheduled tribes, you will have to get the necessary certificate, your caste certificate, to apply for legal aid. If you are a woman, then a copy of Aadhaar card is enough. If you are a child, then your birth certificate is mandatory because that will show that you are entitled for legal aid as a child. If you are a person with disabilities, then you will have to get the disability certificate. If you have been gone under disaster, then that particular certificate from the particular authority. And custody. If you are in custody, you are entitled for legal aid from custody. So the application will be processed from the jail. So we have paralegal volunteers sitting at all the stations, whether it is police station, whether it is authorities like our offices, we have the front office, or even at GR Kare College of Law, we have our legal aid clinic. So they can, any beneficiary, whether it is a staff from the college, whether it's staff from the schools, they have to just come and approach the clinics, who will then divert them or get them to the District Legal Services Authority. So this is the procedure, and once the application has been processed by, like, from the front office, from the clinics, from the schools, this application will come to the concerned staff. The concerned staff will then, looking into your case, we have every taluka, every district, every high court, we have panel lawyers. So looking into your case, that concerned panel lawyer will be allotted to the certain beneficiary. So the document is to only substantiate that you are a beneficiary. If you do not produce the proper documentation, then you will not be entitled. But if you are producing the necessary documentation, then you will be given the panel lawyer from among. So for civil cases, we have a different panel. For criminal cases, we have a different panel. And for people with people who are in custody, we have a different set called as the Legal Aid Defense Council. So this is all the three. And so if you fulfill the condition, you will get the legal lawyer within 1 or 2 days.
So I think that response of yours was substantial enough to guide our seekers of legal aid. So we move on to the next question. What are the different legal aid services available to beneficiaries?
Yes. Now this will come at different stages. Like whenever any person thinks about legal aid, they only think about only one, and that is the court.
Yeah.
So yes, we have legal aids in courts, but then there are others which I will certainly come to. But if it is courts, then first is representation.
Yeah.
A lawyer has been given, plus you are exempted from court fees.
Okay.
And then whether it is your documentation, so you are entitled, you get free drafting, free copies, free certified copies from certain courts. You get free certified copies, and whatever benefit you require from the courts, like what otherwise a private lawyer does.
Yes.
This is taken by the authority. So whether it is a photocopy of a certain document or whatever it is, that is done by the concerned authority.
And this is certainly at all stages, right?
Yes, at all the stages, whether if it is even if a person does not have that facility to approach the higher court.
Yes.
So we see that one paralegal volunteer and one panel lawyer is given, and he approaches the higher court. We go along with the applications to the higher court. Like Taluka Legal Services will get it to the District Legal Services, and from District Legal Services, if the matter is completed, then we will then forward it to the High Court, and from High Court it will go to this. So it is not only courts, that
right.
Legal aid is not only in courts, as I said, it is also in tribunals and also in different types of forums. But then we also give, legal aid is a wider concept, if you see. So I also mentioned it in prisons. Legal aid in prisons not only for representation. Like we also see that they have been given bails. Now it is not only that they are bailed out, we also have something called as empowered committee.
Okay.
In the empowered committee, the chairman is the district judge, or one of the member is the collector, the superintendent of police, and also the superintendent of jail. So if in case that person cannot afford the surety amount or the fine amount, then the empowered committee gets together, and then the empowered committee then recommends that person's name either to give the surety amount or the fine amount.
So that is the role that is played by the
committee.
Empowered.
So this is also legal aid.
Okay.
So the concept of legal aid is not only representation in court. The concept of legal aid is also to make arrangements for the person who cannot afford surety, but it is not this. We have to do inquiry into the economic background, the financial background of that certain person. So once the financial background is known, that he cannot afford to give the fine amount or the surety amount, then the amount is arranged by the government. So it is 40,000 if it is surety amount, and fine amount it is 25,000. So accordingly, the empowered committee takes a decision, then forwards it to the police to make the arrangement. So that is for this. Now the clinics also, clinics also may play a major role. Like if a person cannot approach the jail.
Okay.
So that is at colleges, like we have at Kare College of Law. Similarly, we have clinics in schools, in every villages, talukas. So those people assist or help the people who approach them to approach the courts, to approach the police stations. Similarly, we have something called as pre-litigations. in civil as well as criminal. So pre-litigations is if a person does not want to go to court and wants to approach the authority first, then instead we will arrange for a lok adalat. That like lok adalats are conducted. So permanent lok adalat is there, national lok adalat. So that pre-litigation matters go before the lok adalats, and the matters get resolved in the pre-litigation during the lok adalat. So it is something where you don't have to approach them, especially matrimonial or something. Then similarly we have mediations. Like mediation is also one form where people should take maximum benefit, because there are many matters been going on. So if mediation, because we facilitate, our mediators, panel of mediators are there, then we can facilitate. So that is also one form of legal aid. And conciliation. Every third Saturday of the month, we have one advocate, panel advocate, and one NGO taking up this conciliation matters. So a party has to approach the authority with an application for conciliation, mostly in matrimonial disputes. Matrimonial disputes have a little of ego problems. So if matrimonial disputes come at conciliation, then the panel lawyer and the NGO, they sort out, and it is very confidential. No one knows what is happening. It is in camera, and the discussion will take place. So these are different forms, not only in courts, it is clinics, then involvement of paralegal volunteers, mediation, pre-institutions, then lok adalats, then conciliation, and also legal aid in the form of awareness camps or awareness. So from there, people start getting legal aid.
So it's nice to know that legal aid is not just restricted to courts,
Yes.
but to every stage of litigation, as well as to the alternative forms of dispute resolution. Right?
Exactly.
Yes. So we move on to the next question. Are there any prominent legal aid organizations or authorities in Goa that are making significant contributions to providing legal aid services?
Like as I already mentioned, we have legal aid clinics.
Yeah.
Okay, it is our own, but then we get like Kare College, we get support from your like organizations like Kare College of Law, where we have a major clinic here and which is operational. Similarly in schools, government schools we have taken, so they are, and whoever approaches them, and one-stop center, because people like beneficiaries like women, children, they approach the one-stop center and they have to then be taken to the CWCs and all. So this is the connection, like we come in collaboration, and then so the major legal organizations will be one-stop centers and the institutions, the educational institutions.
So it's gladdening to know that our PLVs as well as our institution is of assistance to legal aid.
Yes, I've got around 6 student PLBs, and they are working efficiently, and
under your guidance.
And what happens is they are young minds. So we, as a legal aid, this institution, we need younger minds
Right.
young thinking, so that they can approach to the.
So furthermore, I'd like to know from you something in relation to access and awareness. So my next question to you is, do you think that the people in Goa, especially the marginalized communities, are aware of their legal aid rights? And how is awareness spread?
Yes. As to my knowledge, there is wide awareness going on through which they know about their rights. Now see, NALSA, the main objective is people in the rural areas, because they are more not spoken, they are not outspoken people like compared to the urban areas. So we most of our programs are being held in villages, in interior rural areas, and the communication is in our regional language like Konkani. So we don't go and talk in English. We reach out to. So when we reach out to the people, we will be talking in Konkani. We will try to understand what they expect from us, and then that area we will show more of interest and stress on more of information being passed in that area. So as we are going on with the agenda of NALSA, which says that we should reach out to the more interior people. So most of our programs, if it is Kankonya, in Kotigaon, Gaundongli, or internal villages, or if it is Sanged, Netraville, and even if it is Vasco, we go to the interiors of Baina, and so it is more for them. And legal awareness camps are like, it is more of giving information as well as taking this from them, so that how we can improve on our awareness camps. So most of our awareness camps are for those people, for children, and again I'll come back to students of GR Kare College of Law, which I forgot to mention. We are coming up with this, we are trying to cover all the schools and colleges in South-Goa on POXO Act. So we have covered around 40 schools, and it is going on, which is because POXO, like children from villages and marginalized, their parents are unlike close to them like how urban areas, they don't speak to them, there is a communication there. So we are doing all this POXO with the students. We are conducting this program on POXO Act, so that the children speak to us, we get to know from them, and they know what is good touch, what is bad touch, so that we need a future, because there are so many sexual offences being taken place. So it is not only with the concept of legal aid, but even with respect to acts, which are the various acts. What are the women's rights, domestic violence act, SC/ST act. We are doing various programs so that they know as to how they can approach. So once we do all this, we are connecting. You always say connecting people. So through this awareness camps, we are connecting people, and there is, I'm getting this, that the students are doing extremely well with respect to POXO, and they are thorough now. They're thorough with their programs. And
since you said, made a mention about the POXO Act, I'd just like to add here. The theme of our Legal Aid Society this year was, in fact, child's rights, and many of our students have conducted speed mentoring sessions, as well as performed street plays for creating awareness in this area.
So that's extremely required and need of the art. Yes.
So thank you for telling. So it's nice to know that you are reaching out to the targeted sections of the society for the purpose of creating awareness and spreading legal aid to the doorsteps of people. So let me move on to the next question. What are some of the questions? Is there sufficient legal literacy in Goa to help people recognize when and whether they need legal aid services?
Yes, as I said, there are legal literacy camps happening at every talukas, at district levels, mediation camps being held at every district, every taluka levels, and the posters are being displayed, Instagram accounts have been made, and people if they are not literate, then we go and approach to the persons. If they are literate, then we spread it through this. So our, for them to know about our legal services, we have portals, we have this. So it is like we are reaching out to the people, and they are knowing. And even if I request the people, like there are paralegal volunteers,
Yeah.
they know everything, whom to approach, what to approach. Or they can go to any person, panel lawyers, and we have retainer lawyers in our courts. So they will all assist you. And people should, every awareness programs, we make it a must to tell them what is the criteria under Section 12 of Legal Services Act. And every woman, as I said, women are the people who really require legal aid. So women, there's no documentation except Aadhaar card. So this is widely spread by the people, by paralegal volunteers as well as the panel lawyers.
So well, it's very nice to know that the Goan population is well informed, whether they are educated or not, and I think social media has played a big role here. Yes. So we move on to our next question. Are there enough legal aid lawyers available to handle the demand in Goa?
Yes. Now I'll give you a small statistics. If you see the district legal aid panel lawyers, I've got 14 panel lawyers. Taluka legal court has 10 courts, so we have 16 lawyers there. Vasco has 18, Sanya has 7, Kanpon has 6, Kepe has 11. So all these panel lawyers are to handle civil cases, criminal cases other than custody cases, then tribunals, appropriate forums. So all these panel lawyers are those type of cases. Now I have a totally different system called as a legal aid defense counsel system. Like how you have a prosecution for the court, like that we have legal aid defense counsel system, which has been started last year.
That's very nice.
So in the year 2023 we have started with this, and I think 23 or something. Yes, then the full system is like we have a chief legal aid defense counsel, we have 3 deputy defense legal aid counsels and 6 assistant legal aid counsels. The matters handled by the chief, the deputy, are cases of which are held in district courts like murder, rape, NDP, narcotics. then immoral trafficking. And the 6 assistant legal aid defense counsels are for matters before the trial courts. Whether we have two people allotted specifically for talukas, one in each taluka, so 6 of them. So this custody people are really well taken care of. Immediately they are, because they have to. Once an application comes, immediately the chief legal aid defense counsel allots the matter either to the defense or to herself or to the assistant legal aid counsel. So this full panel lawyers as well as the legal aid defense counsels are really enough for representation for the bench.
So this is for South-Goa, right?
Yes, this is for South-Goa.
So I think that's a very encouraging number.
Yes, and the panel lawyers are also really good and active, so they take up matters and see that they come up with a logical conclusion.
Okay, so with that, let us move on to our next question. What do you think are the biggest challenges and the difficulties that these lawyers face at work?
In fact, the legal system is really going on. Legal aid system is really going on well, except for there is always an exception. So it is like 1 or 2% of people, where they require a frequent change in the laws. See, we need to understand the mindset of the person. So this frequent changing, if you give a certain matter to a certain person, he will try to do it till the end. But the frequent change brings a break, break in the matter. So this frequent changing of the lawyers, exhausting the entire panel, making an untoward incident for that person, putting him into an untoward situation, are most challenges which come. I get 1 or 2 applications where the party is not satisfied, or the mental state of that person is such that we are unable to satisfy. Still, we do some counselling and this, and we give them panel lawyers. But this is the biggest challenge for the person.
Harsha? First time, best of. So let me move on to the next question. What are the changes or the reforms that you would like to suggest to improve access to legal justice?
I will suggest only one change, which from the day I joined as a secretary, I expect that the senior lawyers who have vast experience in all the fields should at least help the panel lawyers. If not this, like a group of panel lawyers should get assistance from one senior lawyer with vast experience. And they should also, show their willingness to either come for cross-examination or final arguments or major stages like arguments on temporary injunctions, or where the panel lawyer, feels that, this thing is that he or she is unable to handle. So a little of support from the senior lawyers as a pro bono senior, as a pro bono lawyer to the District Legal Services Authority is something which I've been wanting to suggest for a long time. Because it is like the system has to go on, and it's always the senior lawyers have vast experience. So their vast experience has to be utilized also for the legal aid system.
So I think that is a very strong message, and fair enough if the constitutional mandate of legal aid has to be achieved, right? So my next question to you is, are there any particular areas of law where legal aid is more needed or more commonly utilized?
Yes, legal aid is more required for women, and prisoners, as we have been seeing in a lot of judgments of the Honorable High Court as well as Supreme Court. They have been stressing more on women and the prisoners. So, women should get right representation. They should be knowing about their rights, both pre-litigation, during litigation.
Let me move on to the next question, which is specifically devoted to the role of the government and legal institutions. So may I ask you, how does legal aid system in Goa align with the national policies of India?
As I earlier said also, we conduct legal awareness programs. So the legal awareness programs are to reach out to the marginalized people. And the national policies are with respect to all the marginalized society. So we, in collaboration with government agencies and government authorities, we conduct these awareness programs. We conduct the camps whereby people are given enshrined cards, Aadhaar cards. We, in collaboration with the social welfare, we tell them what are the various schemes of the social welfare for SC, ST, and where to approach, what to approach, how it's to be done. So, or even when it comes to environmental changes, we are there with the Goa waste management system. They come up with the policies. So this is being brought out to the people, the students, the children, or any other SOPs or whatever the government comes up with. So that is brought out through these camps or awareness programs to the people. whether it is even motor vehicle victim compensation schemes or any other schemes to the people, where the state government, the funds come from the state government, those are being brought out through this awareness camps to the people, because they will not be aware about this compensations being given by the state government. So we are like in collaboration, we try to bridge this fill in the bridge between the government and the people. So we try to assist them. And
So basically, dissemination of information through camps.
Through camps.
I think that serves the purpose of legal aid services.
Right.
Yeah. So let me move on to the next question, which is in terms of effectiveness and the impact of the legal aid system. How effective is the legal aid system in Goa in terms of helping people access justice?
As to my knowledge, it's very effective, because people have, every day we get applications for legal aid. We've got several matters where we have given legal aid. Legal aid panel lawyers being allowed. We help people, even for approaching the appropriate authorities. My paralegal volunteers are approaching. Like just a few days back, even we did a campaign for street vendors, how to take care of the people and what hygienic food. So it's not only in legal, in all other fields as I have mentioned earlier. But the more success story is my legal aid defense counsel. They have been why, because the people in the have got quick access now. They've got, they can, in just half a day you get a lawyer, he approaches, or even you don't have to make an application, the person is in custody at the pre-litigation stage, this remand lawyer, or you call it him, the legal aid defense counsel will give them legal aid, either at the police station before he's arrested, remand stage, post this release, so they are there. So both, my panel lawyers also are there, the legal aid defense counsels are also there, the paralegal volunteers are also there. So all this we make a team, so our success story is every day, the teamwork what we give, and the output is that people get released, people get the fruits, people get good or the judgment in their favor. So everything is appropriately done.
Yes. So I think these success stories are indication that gives us an idea that true legal justice is being served through legal aid. So thank you, Sarika, for being with us. In a recent significant judgment passed by the Honorable Supreme Court, consisting of Justices D.R. Gawai and K.V. Vishwanathan on the rights of the convicted prisoners on legal aid, the Apex Court has laid down a slew of directions on awareness. It held that in the success of the effective functioning of legal aid, awareness is the key. I think Sarika will be aware of this case.
Yes, it is Suhas Chakrama versus Union of India.
Yes.
Now, we'll take that.
Yeah.
It is, yes, I'm aware about this case. It is Suhas Chakma versus Union of India, which was passed on 23rd October 2024, and really an elaborate judgment of the role of NALSA, the role of District Legal Services Authority, how the awareness camps have to be conducted and reach out to the people and the rights of the prisoners.
Yes. So I think we need to know the law and we need to know our rights. Thank you.